Hello there, wonderful humans. Welcome back to Board Game Dads and yet another Board Game Dadcast. Once again, my name is Anthony.
And my name is Eric.
And we're a couple of Board Game Dads bringing you a video cast, a podcast but over video, or Dadcast. Not sure what the proper terminology is. We never really settled on that, but I like Dadcast. We believe this is episode 6 of this, which we probably should have a better grasp on if it's only single digits. But, we record a bunch of other stuff that's not this as well. So that gets involved. But I'm pretty confident this is the 6th Dadcast.
I'm pretty confident in your confidence that this is the 6th Dadcast.
And so it shall be. And if it's not, then later we can change it to like they do on the Parkway when they just add exits and be like, this episode 6B. Anyhow, Eric, we are going to be talking a little bit later on about couch games, which we'll let you decide what you think that means. We'll get into it a little bit later. But before that, we do like to just go over some things that we've been playing, some things on our radar and whatnot. Eric, I'll ask you first off, any new acquisitions to the collection lately?
I have a few new acquisitions. We got Marvel Champions, Galaxy's Most Wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't played it yet. And we also got, as a Kickstarter in the mail, Burgo Brothers.
Sure.
So, 2, right, Burgo Brothers 2. I don't know how long I've been waiting for this, but it feels like close to 2 years.
Oh, well, you should log in and check it out. That's interesting.
Yeah, I guess. But it's definitely been a while that we've been waiting for this one to come. So I'm glad it's finally here. It came and, I opened it up. I looked at everything and, the box is part of it, right? It's got these little legs and then you put the box upside down on top and it stands.
Right.
And then that's the second level. And my box came damaged. So that was a little annoying.
Oh,
yeah,
that's extra annoying because you're using the game.
But I did email the publisher and let them know, and they got back to me and they said they would send me out a new box. So I guess I could play with it. It would be a little wobbly, but now we're sort of just waiting for the new box to come in, and then we'll give it a go.
Yeah, that's pretty annoying because it's not like you could give it a try. I mean, you could, but you're not really going to get the right experience, I guess, with it.
Now, I've never played Burgo Brothers 1, so I don't know what the experience is at all. And I backed this, obviously, at some point. I really, really liked it, but it's been so long, I don't remember how the game plays.
Yeah.
I know you're moving around and you're trying to steal stuff or something, and these guards are moving around trying to get you. And it seems cool. There's a game called The Big Score that I like a lot, and that's
you like
a
those heists. Yeah.
So maybe I like this one too. Maybe that's a theme that I like. Maybe not.
We don't know.
But yeah, that was a big acquisition that I got. Those two, cool. Actually.
Cool. Yes. Real quick. Speaking of replacement parts, I had a game. Last game I bought. Not last game. A couple games ago at friendly local game store, Time Warp, was that game Queens about the bees, and it came with no player board, with no main board. And so, we really wanted to get it played because I think we were talking about it on another video. And, same deal. I emailed them and they got back to me real quick and we got a new board, but we wanted to play it. So we just played without it, which wasn't that big of a deal because it really is just like a 5x5 grid of squares. So we just put the flower tokens on like a piece of paper instead, just to get the game played at least. But, that was different than what you're talking about because yours is an actual component that you're using physically, like alters the way you would play the game, I think, a little bit. But I digress. So I also picked up Quadropolis from Time Warp, and recently we also got our last game in that board game subscription that Laura and I did from Unbox Boredom. The last one we got is called Sonora, which is a flick and write game. Haven't tried that one yet, but looks really cool. The artwork looks great. and we'll give that one a shot soon, I hope. What
Yeah,
else did I
there was a
get?
lot of buzz around that one when that came out a little while ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's unique for sure.
Yeah, that's true. Flicking right.
Flicking right is somebody had to do it at some point.
And I want to play it.
What else? Yeah. I think there's something else we got, and I can't remember what it was. Up.
Yeah, don't you get 2 games from that?
No. It's one game every 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah. You could do one game a month, but obviously it's more expensive. Oh, and Fox in the Forest. We picked that up as well. Have not played that yet. But what have you played? Let me guess. You probably played Marvel Champions.
We have played Marvel Champions. Now, you know that we're playing this and we're trying to figure out who our favorite characters are to get to break down the other decks that use the same aspects and make an almighty powerful deck for this one person and then do the campaign with it. That's where we're going. We've never done anything like that in any of these like LCGs before. This is other than Arkham Horror, where we've just played it a few times with the base stuff. For the most part, we've only played this game with the base stuff. Maybe we'll add a couple of cards or remove a couple of cards. But like we went all in after our last game. I am going to be Doctor Strange. Melissa is going to be Captain Marvel. So those are the characters that we have found. And we just got Galaxy's Most Wanted, right? And now we're playing Rise of the Red Skull.
Okay.
So like we got him and we'll play as Rocket as Groot like soon. But
so the Red Skull campaign comes with the base game?
So the Red Skull campaign is a separate it's a campaign box. The base game does not come with it.
Okay.
And I think there's like unlockable stuff in it. I'm not sure. I did accidentally open one of the packs of cards, the Red Skull pack, because there's also Crossbones and I think Taskmaster are also villain decks that you can do in here. But I might be getting confused. But anyway, so the Red Skull one I accidentally opened, and then I accidentally dropped them when I was trying to move them. And I saw the backs of a lot of cards, and I was like, those are the backs of like the cards that we use. So I guess at some point in this campaign, we're going to be earning new cards that we can put into our deck. So it's kind of a spoiler for us, but whatever. Everybody that plays these kinds of games probably knows already that that's what happens in these campaign expansions.
Sure. But
this will be our first time playing through it, and it's pretty exciting.
Nice.
Yeah.
What else besides that?
The Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle, the cooperative deck building game that we like a lot because it's Harry Potter and it's cooperative, but we house rule it because we don't like it that much. There's certain times where things go south real quick, and then after the third round, we put ourselves in a position where we're like, I either hate this game or maybe we should restart. And it's because it's cooperative. Nobody's going to be complaining, right? They're not going to complain that they were in the lead or something like that.
Right.
And so it's a cooperative decision. Like, yeah, you know what? Like, this person shouldn't be one of the 3 starting villains because they're just too difficult. We don't have the cards to defeat them. And every time this happens, and we can't even. So we house rule it, and we, on occasion, will restart the game when we get that feeling of hopelessness. And we did when we played this one. We did that. We had to house rule it and restart the game. And then the second time, it was still pretty difficult. I wouldn't say really difficult. But we won.
And how far are you into that game?
That's a good question.
Okay.
We finished the base game. We played 1 through 7. We are currently still on the first of the expansions, I think. I don't know. I don't know that we've yet opened, or we've opened it, but I don't know if we've yet used the newest expansion, which is, I think, Charms and Potions. something like that. We haven't played with that. We've only played with the monsters expansion, and it's fun. I like it because it adds a different type of villain as one of the three villains. It's a beast, and they do this other stuff which is still negative.
Okay.
But you can also use coins to defeat them, or I guess some of them you also have to use coins to defeat them. And so it changes a little bit because some guys you can defeat with the lightning, and that's the lightning bolts, whatever that is, energy. And now these beasts, some of them you can, I guess, bribe because they're not working for Voldemort. They're just, I don't know,
they're
trolls,
out for themselves. Yeah, they're
trolls that are looking for a quick buck.
Greedy goblins.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so that's a fun game. We also got a chance to play Aquicorn Cove, which we talked a little bit more in depth about in our video for Earth Day, which probably already came out a month or two ago.
At this point, yeah. That's true. And then also our Read Across America Day video would be a spot to check out some Harry Potter Hogwarts battle description from our buddy Ryan, who was on from dadsuggests.com.
As well as I spoke about Wonder Woman, which is the other game that we played recently.
Oh, okay.
Wonder Woman Rise Challenge of the Amazons. And I still love it. I still love how different the cooperation is in that game, and the limited information, and then you can't talk anymore because it feels like, oh, well, whatever, you get to see 2 cards and you already make these plans. You have to choose 3 cards, and these 2 cards might be garbage. And it's cool. I really like it. And the components are really flimsy, though. The cards are really flimsy. Maybe not all the components, just the cards. And the cubes are stupid. You got to replace them with meeples. Give the game some feeling. But I digress.
Have you played all the villains yet? Through all the villains?
We haven't.
Okay.
We have not. We still have not played Circe. And I don't know that we're going to until I know how to actually pronounce her name. Circe?
I don't think it's Circe. I've always heard
I don't think it's Circe either. But I'd like to know. I'd like to know how it's pronounced, and I don't know how to find that.
Maybe you should ask the designer on Board Game Geek.
I could. No, it would be a DC Comics.
Yes, that's true. Anyway, on our end here, Lauren and I are preserving the game streak. We have now been playing games as of today's recording for 110 days consecutively.
That's almost a full school year.
That's true. Yeah. So yeah, that's interesting. We have some challenging times coming up. That's going to definitely challenge the streak. First of all, next week I'll be getting my second dose of the COVID vaccine, and so I may feel quite unwell from what I've heard. Although during the first one, or after the first shot, I should say, I didn't feel so great, and we still made it through a game. So there's that. But more importantly, in a week from tomorrow, and again, that's as of recording this time, we will be scheduled for Lauren's C-section, welcoming the second child into the household. So we'll see how that goes. We do have a couple games packed away in the bag. We'll try to get something played in the hospital. So we'll see. But most notably, or at least most recently, I should say, we played back-to-back games of Mariposas, which I quite enjoyed. We each won one time, so there's that. I really like the way this game looks. I'm looking at it now because it's still out on the table. We just played it tonight. Other than that, we had a couple plays of Fleet the Dice game, of course, some Quacks. Cartographers got in there. Isle of Cats got played again last week.
Nice.
Really like that game. I kind of like that game a little bit more every time I play it, I think. It's just very satisfying. I don't know why. And was anything else you played for the first
I almost feel the opposite.
Really?
Isle of Cats?
Yeah,
you
like it less as you play?
Yeah, I haven't had the greatest experiences. The first time we played the game, I ended up with a card that gave me extra points for all the treasures.
Hmm.
And I had a ton of common and regular treasures. And it gave me, I want to say like 28 points in the end, something like that, like a huge, huge boost of points. And it felt like that was unfair. I was still, I was happy because I won, but I was like, that's a little lame that can happen. And then in the second time we played, Melissa had gotten a basket, so that every round she had now had two baskets right off the bat in like the first round, and I was like, oh my god, I still got to like use these cards and put them out in order to get baskets and pay for these cards. And I felt like I didn't get one for the rest of the game, and she just had like this advantage for the rest of. And I was a little sour on that as well.
That's fair.
Something like that can happen. The third time we played the game, it happened again where she got the basket, and I was like, "Oh, great! All right, whatever. We'll play the game." And then the next round, I got a basket, so I was like, "All right, we'll continue playing." Now, I didn't really focus on the goal setting cards or the goal cards, whatever they were, the blue cards that give you points. But then
Lessons.
the lessons, right? But then towards the end of the game, I got one that I thought said fill in all of this one section with like, I don't know, the birds or whatever other symbol on the thing. And I was like, oh man, for 18 points, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then that happened on two different cards that I just got them wrong. And whatever it was like the opposite or I can't remember exactly. And I know that's not the game's fault. That's my fault for not understanding it. But man, it wasn't a good experience. And through no fault of the game, I didn't enjoy it again, right? For the third time, I've had some sort of knock against the game. So the next time we play, we're going to maybe play like the family version, which I believe has less of the lessons or none of the lessons. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, so yeah. So the good and bad of that game, it has the deck of cards is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, like really, really big. And so, on one hand, that because there's so many cards, you might have a situation like what you just described, where you're not going to get cards that you kind of need. And at the other end of the spectrum as well, you do have to kind of change your strategy a little bit then, and work with what you have. And because there's so many cards, you might have something that works out for you. So like I had a similar situation when we played last time where Lauren had, I think, 3 baskets at some point. And it was annoying, but you know what? She was then passing on a lot of the half basket cards, like the broken basket cards where you combine 2 to get a basket. She wasn't keeping a lot of those, and those are really cheap. So there was a turn where I was able to get like, I think 4 of them for not that many fish, and then I kind of caught up, at least for that round, was able to get some extra cats. But real quick, I feel your pain on the misreading thing, and I remembered it because you said that, and it just happened to me tonight in Mariposas. One of the season scoring things was to not have butterflies below a certain city. And I put all of mine below that certain city. And then when it was almost time to score, I was like, wow, I was so mad.
Yeah.
So needless to say, I lost that one. But I don't know. I might convince Lauren to play a rubber match of this tomorrow, perhaps, since we each won one. We'll see. All right. Anything on the radar that you have your eye on? Anything you recently kickstarted or a game that you just learned about?
I know there's a couple of games that I will be receiving soon in the mail.
Okay.
From Kickstarter. Melissa told me the other day that I can't remember the months, but it might be April, May, June, July, and August. Like each of the months, she's expecting a game.
Oh,
yeah! So we got a number of Kickstarters supposedly coming to us in the mail within the next 2 seasons,
Cool.
1 season, 1.5 seasons. I have no idea.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's always exciting when
yeah.
something shows up that you weren't expecting.
I feel like I backed something the other day, but now I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember when. I mean, I remember what I backed, but I don't remember if we talked about it already because, again, we don't necessarily post these, especially these dadcasts are not necessarily posted quickly after they're recorded.
I did back something recently, but I can't talk about it because it's for Melissa as a gift.
Fair.
She will watch this. So there is something on Kickstarter that I'm considering backing. Now my brother just backed it, so I don't know that I'm going to. And it's Marvel United. It's a new.
Oh, the X-Men one, right?
It's the X-Men Marvel United. Now there's been a lack of X-Men in games for a very long time, having to do with movie rights and comic. It's just everything's owned by Disney now. So we're going to be seeing more of everybody, and it's about time that they did something cool with the X-Men. Now, I haven't played Marvel United, and unfortunately, I can't because I'm already buying all of the Marvel Champion stuff. I can't also get Marvel United because I'll have to get all of it, and there's a lot of content for that. And I love all these characters so much. I was looking at some of the unlockable characters for the new X-Men set. You got Strong Guy. There's a lot of content for this. I'm a completionist, right? I have to have it all.
There's no X-Men in Marvel Champions at all yet?
There is in the Quicksilver deck that he came with. There was a character called Warlock as an ally card, and another character called Multiple Man, one of my favorites, one of my brother's favorites. And so he came in that deck as well. And that was really the first mutant that's been, I mean, I guess Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are mutants still, unless that was retconned. And so it's the first mutant. And then, and I was talking to my brother, and my brother's like, well, they retconned Jamie Madrox as not being a mutant, but like one of the first mutants. So that was retconned. So I don't know. But I will say this. A few days ago, I was looking on the internet for anything having to do with Marvel Champions and the X-Men. And I found somewhere, some post where somebody was laying out like the next 6 waves or 6 phases. One of them was like Marvel Knights or Defenders or that kind of thing. And it had like Daredevil and maybe Iron Fist, Luke Cage, like those kinds of characters.
Oh, the Hell's Kitchen crew?
Yeah, the Hell's Kitchen crew. There was another one that was talking about the Fantastic Four, which is going to be cool. There was another one talking about, I think, Wiccan and Hulkling.
Oh, so like the second generation?
Yeah,
folks.
So like, I don't know, I guess I'll get it. Those characters really do nothing for me. But there was also an X-Men one. So somewhere, somebody either had this information or made up this information and made it sound for real, or it was just this really boring dream. Somewhere, somebody had mentioned that, and and they went through like a bunch of the characters, and I was like, "Oh man, this is so cool!" And the next day, I texted my brother. I was like, "Oh yeah, they're talking about having X-Men and Marvel Champions." He's like, "Oh yeah, oh Juggernaut," and I was like, "Yeah, I think so." And then I went back to look for it. I can't find it. Like I'm Google searching it, and I can't find it. And that's why I mentioned it could have been a really boring dream, right? Because I already know it's not definite. It's just somebody talking about like all these phases away. But it's exciting news because I also read Omega Red. So between Omega Red and Juggernaut, at least one of them, possibly even Apocalypse, if they're going to throw somebody in there. Apocalypse is in Marvel United.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to hear that X-Men might be coming to Marvel Champions. There was another set, and I can't remember what the set was, but Ghost Rider was a character. For some reason, they didn't have Ghost Rider with the like the Hell's Kitchen crew,
Oh,
which I
okay.
thought I thought that he would go well with them, but
Yeah, I associate him with that scenario, but I don't know much about it.
I don't know which Ghost Rider they're gonna make. There's like 4 of them, or more actually. Do you have anything on your radar?
I don't know what is coming soonest from Kickstarter for me, although I think it might be the Cartographers Heroes expansion,
Right.
which I believe comes with a few different maps and I guess some heroes that do something else. Probably, I would imagine, to alleviate the monsters in some way, shape, or form. I think it's time for a main topic.
I think you're right.
So I'll meet you on the couch. We're talking about couch games.
That would be cool if we were both actually going to film from the couch right now, and you just kind
Yeah.
of did like a little. I'm not going out there though.
All right, Eric, what is your definition of couch game?
My definition of couch game is a game that you can play while sitting on the couch. Now, that being said, you have to keep in mind that most couches only hold 3 people. So it's either 2 people and the game is in the middle, or if there's like an L-shaped couch, it's 2 people sitting, right at a 90-degree angle from each other.
Right.
And that's where the table is right there so that they both can reach it. Maybe a third person in that sort of setting.
Mm-hmm.
Or 7 or 8 people all sitting around, but they all have nothing to do in front of them. There's not like a community table.
Right. There's nothing they have to reach for. It's everything they
Right.
have is in their hands.
So those were really my criteria for trying to figure out games. So everybody's seen in their life sometime one of those like snack tables that's maybe almost 2 feet long, maybe 1.5 feet or so, and maybe a foot wide. And you bring them out, you put it in a corner, you put some stuff on it. And so that's the kind of table that most people have laying around. That's the kind of table that I assumed most people would be playing on. I'm not going to bring out, a 3 foot by 3 foot table and say, "Oh, it's a couch game because it fits on." That's just trying to bend the rules. So we have these, I believe they're called serving trays. They're maybe like this big, and we'll put a pillow in our lap and we'll put it on our lap and we'll have some food and we'll eat, and we can write on that. And something like that could also be used, maybe the top of a game box, just to make sure components don't slide all over the place. But those are really the main things that I had in my mind thinking about this. I was trying to think of games that you could like sit back and relax and read stuff, but the only game that I could think of that was like that was Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective.
Okay.
And that game makes me feel so stupid. I know I'm never going to be Sherlock Holmes, but when right from the get-go, he's like, "Oh, well, I immediately thought that, I should go to the park because he mentioned how he liked butterflies." I went to his house, it was dead end. And then I went across the street because I don't know what else to do. And that was a dead end. Oh my God, this thing, I feel so stupid. It takes so long and we lose. And I think we played like one or two of the missions and we just packed it up and we're going to get rid of it. Yeah.
You can't house rule that one.
No. It just wasn't fun for us. It's not our thing.
No, that's
we
fair.
I guess we don't think that way. But yeah, so we that one's too long. I also, based on that whole tangent that I just went on, another criteria is that this can't be a game that's going to keep you here for 2 hours.
No.
Because eventually somebody's back is going to hurt from leaning forward at the table. And I want most of the back pain and everything eliminated, because that's probably why you're sitting on the couch in the first place. Somebody's back hurts, and I just want to sit on a comfortable couch.
Yeah.
Great. I don't want them having to lean forward. So most of these games revolve around that criteria. What did you think about when picking these games, making a list, whatever?
Pretty
I didn't
similar.
really come up with a number. I just wrote a bunch down.
Yeah, no, same here. Pretty similar. It has to have a small footprint, basically. It was the first thing I thought of. It can't be a big game, which means there's not going to be a whole lot of games on this list that have an actual board to them, unless it's a pretty small board. And like you said, either having a couch that is for 3 so that you can play in the middle section.
An L-shaped couch for 3.
Right. Or, well, if you have...
Well, for 3 people, I mean. If you want to do 3 people, that's the only way that'll work.
Yes.
Unless everybody's just sitting back with a notebook or something to write on.
No, I'm talking about 2 people. I'm talking about 2 people with an empty spot in the middle.
Right.
For the stuff. For sure. Or, like you said, a table of some kind. And I guess the other caveat I put in here, I mean, you mentioned something to write on, which certainly I don't think is much of a cheat because you can grab anything that's flat. But for a couple of my picks, it's not necessary, but having a dice tray or something to roll dice in.
You can fit that on a table.
Right. No, for sure. So there's that. All right.
One more thing.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I didn't choose a bunch of roll and writes and a bunch of flip and writes.
Okay.
We could do a list of roll and writes and flip and writes and just name 20 different games that you could play sitting at the table. We get it. Most of these roll and write. If you want to play a cool, fun game that you already love and you love roll and writes and you want to play it from the couch, there's your answer. But outside of that, and we'll talk about 1 or 2 because they're just that good. But outside of that, these other games are other styles. And party games. I didn't write a whole bunch of party games, but there's, those social deduction games.
Sure.
Like Werewolf, which I've never even played. I assume you can play that with people on a couch, but you might need like 20 people for that. But other games like Resistance and Spyfall, I put on my list just because you can have a bunch of people sitting around a couch, each with just a notebook in their hand and just writing something, and then you hand it to somebody.
Well, I don't think you write anything in those games, do you?
I don't know. No, you don't. You just,
not in Spyfall.
Somebody passes you a card and you look at it and then you just ask questions or answer questions.
Yeah.
So that can be done. So that's it. That's my pick for a party game, and I won't be mentioning any more.
Nice. All right, so I tried to not do just roll and write, flip and writes, like you said. So I did put 1 of each on my list.
Okay.
The flip and write I picked purposely because it solves the problem of needing something to write on, and that's because this comes with dry erase boards to write on, and that's Metro X. These are pretty decent sized boards. It is a game that, besides the boards and the markers, is just a really small deck of cards. There's maybe like 12 or 14 or something like that. And you're just flipping one over. So in terms of footprint space that it takes up, the game that you're not holding is just cards. And it's just a pile of cards, not even like a tableau. So this one definitely fits the category because you could play it sitting down, standing up, at a table, no table, on the floor. Pretty versatile.
Nice.
How about you? You have a flip and write on there?
I only have flip and writes on here. I thought I wrote a flip and write and a roll and write like you did, but I just wrote 2 flip and writes.
Okay. So what's one?
Trails of Tucana. Probably my favorite flip and write.
Yeah, I had a feeling you were going to say that one.
Yeah, there's... All right, so here, the game is real simple. There's these cards, and you're going to flip over 2. They're going to have 2 different types of land tiles or land tiles.
Terrain. Yeah, land types.
Land types, okay. Or maybe they'll be the same. Who knows? It's a pretty thick deck. And it's going to have like sand and mountains. And you just have to, on your board, draw a line, a bridge between a sand and a mountaintop, anywhere. And you're trying to connect different things, going different routes, trying to get these other things along the way. And everybody's board is a little bit different. So it's impossible to have the exact same thing as somebody else, the same map or route.
Right,
and
right. Yeah,
I don't know why I said route. I used to say route all the time, and now I'm saying route.
That's a good
It's
one.
weird.
I don't know what I say. I think I say route.
Yeah. Maybe it's a Jersey thing.
Maybe.
Anyway, we're getting off route. It's a fun game. That's why it's my favorite game. That's why I put it on the list. You just need somebody to have a table in front of you where you put down 2 cards. The other person doesn't even have to see it. You can just tell them what is on there. It's not like you're going to lie about it. And somebody can just sit back, be relaxed, be pregnant. That's where the couch game has originated, right? I have a pregnant wife. Batista has a pregnant wife. We're talking about games that we can play without having to get up and go into the other room and I just want to watch it from here where it's comfortable in the living room. Boom.
Yep, and not have to think too much. So, I mean, most of these games are pretty simple.
Right.
You know, there's like one thing or 2 things to do, and that's it.
All right, so let's get to it. I already mentioned the social deduction game.
All right, so the one roll and write that I put on the list,
right, the roll and writes,
is called Quinto, which is similar to Quicks in that you have rows of numbers, of spaces rather, that you're writing numbers in. I picked Quinto over Quicks simply because it has less dice. It's only 3 dice, whereas Quicks has, I think, 6. So it's a little bit less stuff just in general rolling around there. And this one's super fast, and it's all about putting the numbers in these rows like Quicks and like Welcome to. They have to be in ascending order of value. What's the big difference, though, about this one and Quicks is that in Quicks, once you write a number somewhere, or you're not writing them, they're already written. In Quinto, you're writing the numbers. But in Quicks, once you go to a certain number, anything to the left of that is off limits. In Quinto, because you're writing the numbers in the spaces, you can kind of skip around a little bit. In addition to getting the rows filled, there's also some ways to score the columns. Do
you ever get the rules confused between the two, Quinto and Quicks?
No, not really. There's not much to them. But yeah, Quinto's fun, easy, a little bit thinkier than Quicks, but not by much.
All right, so let's get on to some more games that you can play at the couch.
Got it.
I'm going to go ahead and just shout out a couple of them because they're not the best games on this list. One of them is Flux, everything Flux.
Okay, I had Flux too.
By the way, Flux and Munchkin, I know we talked about Munchkin for, I think, Easter. Mm-hmm. Possibly something else. Those 2 games have probably the most skins out of all games.
Oh, yeah.
I also have Jenga on my list because technically you can play Jenga sitting on a couch. Man, no, I guess you really want to stand up.
I'm going to argue.
You can lose Jenga by just sitting on the couch. All right, we'll just cross that one off the list.
Wait, I want to go back to Flux for 1 second. Which version do you have?
We have Holiday Flux, which is very disappointing that it does not have anything outside of New Year's, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, maybe birthday. There's no Easter. I'm sorry. I believe there's Halloween. There's Halloween. I don't think there's any July 4th, which I guess is just an American holiday.
You are correct, yeah.
But still, there's no July 4th. There's no Easter. There's no St. Patrick's Day. There's no Shark Week.
Okay.
What are you laughing at?
I love sharks, but that's not a holiday.
I love Shark Week, and it's a full week of holidays. 7 days of holidays.
All right.
Culminating on the final 7th day, only to find out that right at 9 p.m. it just ends and something new is on. All right. What's the last great show that's going to be on? Oh, it's the newest episode of Naked and Afraid, which is cool. I like Naked and Afraid. Unless they're going to get, attacked by sharks. I'm not ready for it yet.
There's no Naked and Afraid crossover shark event yet?
I think there has been.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to name a couple more games here. I got
Go for it.
Get Bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's so again, like I said, I know that playing a couch game, it's really only going to be 2-3 players max playing this game. And Get Bit is not the greatest 2-player game. One of you is going to get eaten by the shark. The other one's going to just be missing a leg and an arm and still be able to get away from the shark. That's just the game. So it's more fun with more people.
Sure.
But during Shark Week, especially now that we're talking about Shark Week, get bit. What a great segue. Not even planned. All right. And then I know I mentioned briefly party games before, so I have code names. Because on that kind of a tray, you can play all those cards out and play a 2-player version of Codenames Duet, whatever you want to do. Should be pretty simple.
All right, that's fair.
All right. Why don't you go ahead and name a couple games you got?
All right, so I guess the one I have that's probably the highest player count would be A Fake Artist Goes to New York, which again, you have everything you need in your hand because you just have a dry erase board and a little marker. And this one, so again, this one could be played with multiple people on a long couch or a couple of couches, I guess, without a lot of interaction going on. So everybody could kind of be sitting back and be comfortable. So I think that's a good one for a large group on a couch. And
it's a good social distancing, deduction game.
That's true.
You can have everybody sit.
Deduction game.
So yeah, social distancing. I don't think it's there. No. Is it there? Tell us in the comments below. Deducting. Deducting. Ooh, that's not terrible. Deducting. I won't be able to say that though.
It's not great either.
No, it's not great.
So there's this one that is not a specific game because there's so many different variants on it, and that's escape room games. I think a lot of them could be played from the couch. Probably like something that's Deckscape where it's pretty strictly just cards. But even if you're playing something like one of the exit games where you're going to be cutting stuff or folding things, I mean, at that point, it is kind of like reading something, and you're just going to be passing things back and forth. I think in this specific scenario, it would be best at 2 people. I think the escape rooms in general get worse as the player count goes up. You know, some of those boxes I think say they play up to 8, which I think is absurd because you're not going to be involved in a lot of stuff going on at that point. But I think in a 2-player situation with a couple things in front of you and some pieces and some cards, you could probably get away with playing escape room on the couch.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Melissa and I played Unlock, the Star Wars version of the Unlock. It's the 3-pack.
Okay.
And we played the first one, which has to do with Hoth. I forget what it was called. And I have this on my list. It was that much fun to play on the couch for a couple of reasons. And one, and I know how dumb of a reason this is, but because it's the 3-pack and it's in that larger box, we could take the box lid and all the current cards that were cooperatively working on trying to figure out what the clues could be are in the box. Okay. We're not falling into the couch, not falling off the couch. We can sit on the same couch with this in between us and play. Because something that we didn't talk about is that when you're playing a couch game and you got 2 people on the couch and you're playing on that couch cushion in the middle, things are going to be moving all over the place.
Yeah.
And so you got to take that into consideration. You can't just set up a game and then have somebody be like, oh, well, what does this look like over? And try to lean forward. And all of a sudden, all the pieces like fall up. Those games are not on this list.
Well, you tried to get Jenga on the list, remember?
I did try to put Jenga on the list.
Anyway, so did you play through all of the Star Wars or just the first one?
We played just through the first one. And again, like I said, having that box there to keep everything together was great. It's Unlock is not our favorite of the escape room in a box games. But this Star Wars one was a lot of fun. Probably because it's Star Wars. Probably also because we were able to do it from the comfort of our own living room couch.
Right.
And we had a good time. And we're probably, when we play the next 2 of that Star, probably going to do them from the couch as well. Maybe not. We could do them out here in the game room, but that's got couch written all over it.
All right. What else you got over there?
All right, so I got a couple of games about flowers and or planting herbs. I know we've recently talked about herbaceous.
Right.
My wife and I did play this on that little TV tray or whatever TV table, and it fit great. It was very simple to play, the two of us, and it worked. What can I say? That's a cool game too. That's got really nice artwork.
It does. It does. And for two people, on a couch, I think definitely works because you just have a few cards. You're never going to have that many cards in front of you in that game because at some point you're pulling the trigger and cashing some in to get to plant in one of those cards. And at that point, you could just even put them up and just put them off to the side and count them later to do the scoring. So yeah, I like that pick. That's a good one.
And the other game that Melissa and I played. Now this one we actually played sitting on couch cushions, which were on the floor. From an older couch that we got rid of, but we kept the couch cushions to keep the floor padded in certain areas so that we could sit on the floor and play with Zoe.
Okay.
So we were sitting on the floor and we played Blossoms. We had just gotten this game for, I don't know what, probably some other holiday. I think maybe Valentine's Day.
I thought you mentioned that you got this.
Maybe St. Patrick, maybe Easter. No, probably Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I think it might have been Valentine's Day.
I think in a previous Dadcast, I mentioned how I got her two things for Valentine's Day, one of which was Canvas, the other was Spring Meadow, and I never mentioned it again. So no, it wasn't Valentine's Day.
Okay, that's true.
So I think this was for our anniversary. Because flowers.
That's right. That's what it was. Because Lauren also asked you about a game to buy for me that had flowers in it. Right. Right. Okay. It's all coming back to me now.
So this one we got for our anniversary, and we finally, when we got to play it, we sat on the floor and we played it on the floor on a floor cushion in between the two of us, and it worked out well. It's not too long that it was okay to sit there and sort of be leaning forward a little bit.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it would work just fine on one of those TV trays as well.
Right.
I got to come up with a better side table. I'm going to call it a side table. I don't like TV tray. It just sounds weird.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think a snack table, because it's foldable, right? A side table is a piece of more like a permanent piece of furniture, I think.
Snack table or folding table? No, see, folding table could be a giant.
Folding table is a whole nother thing.
Side table. No. Snack table. I'll get it. All right. We also played, I think that same night, point salad while sitting on the floor with the seat cushion in between us. We played that. I don't know if point salad will fit on that snack table. And I don't think you can play point salad on the middle cushion of the opposite sides of the couch. I think there's too much movement. The cards are going to fall.
Yeah.
But if you do, for some reason, have couch cushions on your floor, that whatever you move on one isn't going to have any effect on the one in the middle, then this game worked.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I got a couple of dice-specific games here. And again, I already mentioned that you probably want to have something to roll your dice in. It doesn't have to be a dice tray, but anything that has some kind of border around it will do. Even the box lid to a game is fine. So on here, I've got one of Lauren's favorites, one of mine not-so-favorites, and that is Pass the Pandas. Lauren really enjoys this game. I like it okay. I just don't like it at two players because I just don't. You're handing dice to the same person each time. But it is pretty quick, and I know it's one of her favorites, so I did have to get it on the list. A dice game that I like that has a lot more dice, and I do like it better than that, is Martian Dice. This comes in a little round cylinder. In fact, it's right here. And in this game, it's push your luck, which I love. You're rolling all the dice, and the dice either have an army tank on them, which you must keep. You put those off to the side. Then you have your alien death rays, and then 3 types of earthlings. You have humans, chickens, and cows. Yeah. And you can choose to keep one type of those things on your roll, with the caveat that at the end of your turn, you have to have equal to, if not more, death rays than tanks, or you lose out on everything. So that's where the push your luck comes in. You roll all those dice. You might start out with like 4 tanks. You're like, oh man, I got 4 tanks. So you roll the dice again, and you get 4 death rays. All right, keep my 4 death rays. Now I'm even. Try to get some earthlings. Each one's going to give you a point, the earthlings that you collect. And if you manage to get one of each type, you get some bonus points as well. Again, real simple, just dice, and an easy one to teach to young folks as well. I want to point that out because I did use it in Board Game Club. But does work on the couch.
Nice. Another one that I have written down is Canvas. Now, I know you haven't played this game, but it's really just, they give you this little board. It's like a piece of linen, and you unroll it, and it's got spots for you to put out the cards that are out. Outside of that, you have the painting that you're working on in front of you.
Right.
And if you have the Kickstarter, you have a little easel. So that's just standing in front of you, and you can just work on that. Or if you go to Michael's or AC Moore with $5, you can get the same easel. And so you could probably, we haven't played this out there on the couch, because when we want to play a game on the couch, we want it to be a relaxing game. We don't want it to be this analysis paralysis, brain burning game that's going to get one of us very upset.
Really? Canvas is that brain burny that you
yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
There's so many. So there's a expansion on Kickstarter as well. That I was going to bring up before. Yeah, I was going to bring that up before and I forgot. But yeah, there's an expansion on Kickstarter. But yeah, this game, because there's different ways. There's like 4 different ways to score. There's a green, a red, blue, purple, and they can change each game. They similar to like Quacks of Quedlinburg, where you can change the whatever's. And I don't recall how many there are of each. It might just be 2. There might be 4. I don't know. But you can change them, and they don't always have to be the same. And then there's like other things that'll give you ribbons on the card, on the pieces of artwork on the bottom. There's like a palette of maybe 5 colors, I think. And so you want to get one of each color because that'll give you something. And you want to get, and there's so many things that you can score points for, and you want to get all of them, but you can only get these whatever's out. If you need purple and you have 4 cards in your hand and you don't have any purple, and she's like, I just need a purple, and then I can make a painting that has all 5 of the colors. And out in front of you, in order to get, there's no purple. You're SOL, like you're just out of luck. You're just not going to have purple this one. And then you have to start, okay, well, what points can I get? And what seems like it should be a 20, 30-minute game can end up being like a 45-minute to an hour mind-melting, just misery fest. For me, at least.
So that's what your painting's called.
Yeah, mind-melting misery fest. No, again, don't get me wrong, because I'm getting a little exaggerated with how upset I get with the game. It's a fun game. It looks amazing. The cards are just really, really outstanding artwork and everything. And when you put them together, it's such a great idea, such a unique idea. But it does make you think a lot. And it definitely has analysis paralysis. And I don't tend to navigate towards games that do that to me. That's just, that's not my style.
Yeah.
But you can play it on the couch.
There you go. So there's that. So if you're gonna have some AP, you might as well be comfortable. All right. I have only a couple more here. So how many more you got left? Because I might just do one and then pass it back to you.
I got about 4 or 5 left.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to do one and then you do like 2 or 3.
Sure.
I've got here, I mentioned Past the Pandas already. A game that has Panda in it that is much, much better of a game is called Trash Pandas. This is a little game from Game Right We played this for the first time at PAX Unplugged, and bought it right then and there because it was really fun. Again, really small footprint. It just has a deck of cards, and there's only one die that you're going to roll, and a few tokens that match each face of the die. So 6 tokens altogether. Another little bit of a push your luck because you're going to roll the die. Whatever face you get, you take that token, and then you can keep rolling, trying to get a new die face and a new token. If you ever get the same one, you bust, but you're still allowed to take a card, so there's that. But this, at the heart of it, is a set collection type game, because when you collect these cards, and by the way, I should mention, trash pandas are raccoons. So there's a raccoon. You're raccoons in this game. You're scavenging for food.
By the way, I should mention,
yeah,
raccoons are adorable. You ever see them eat?
Yeah, they get a bad rep, but they're
use their hands. You know, they're not just eating with they're cute. They're really cute. Anyway, trash pandas.
Yeah, so in trash pandas, you're trying to stash away different types of trash, and basically set collection. At the end of the game, you'll score for having the most of each type of card. So there's like bananas, for example. If you have the most, you get 7 points. Second most, you get 3 points or whatever. And some of them are, only first place gets the points. Everybody else gets nothing. But in addition to the point value, these cards also have actions that you can do on it. So they have dual purpose. You can play the card and do the action, or you can stash it and keep it for points for later in the game. It's cool because those cards are face down and you're not allowed to look back at them. So unless you have a really good memory, you're not sure how many of each type you kind of hit away. But love the push your luck on this. You roll one more time and you get that duplicate. You're like, but then I have this card that lets me re-roll again. There's a card that makes your opponent keep rolling, even if they want to stop. A little bit of take that. But again, small footprint, trash pandas, small game, push your luck, set collection, right up my alley. All right, what do you got? Give me 2.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and say Lost Cities.
Okay.
Now, I have not measured the board in Lost Cities. That could be a little bit bigger. But otherwise, the cards on both sides should fit on that regular size table.
Yeah.
And if you can play it, man, you're in luck because this is such an awesome game. This is one of those games. Favorite Game Friday and Dice Tower just did something where it was games that you can't play just once. You have to play a bunch of games of it.
Okay.
And I really considered doing Lost Cities. And I was like, everybody's going to do Lost Cities. Nobody did Lost Cities. But I did Diamant.
Right.
Which is also like Ink and Gold. And somebody else did Ink and Gold. So I wish I had said Lost Cities as well. I don't like to say more than one game on there. I know a lot of people do, but I'm just one person, so it's different. Some people have just like three people, and they get 3 games. Great. But yeah, Lost Cities. And another one, this is a cooperative game called The Grizzled.
Aha.
I don't know how to play this game. We've only played it like twice. It wasn't great. It's not difficult to understand. It's a cooperative game where you're putting out cards, and each card has maybe a symbol or 2, and maybe it's snowing or raining or sunny, and it's either day or night. And cooperatively, everybody has to be playing cards out where there's not 3 of one of those types of symbol. Like there's not going to be, you're going to put out however many cards you can, but there can't be 3 night cards, or there can't be 3 cards that show a whistle, or there can't be 3 cards featuring rain. And that's the game. And I don't know, maybe it just doesn't work so great with 2. Maybe we never fully understood how to play the game and then tried to play it. But a lot of people really like this game. This game gets a lot of praise, and I don't see it. And it could have just been me learning the game poorly. Like it could have absolutely nothing to do with the game. It could just be me. And most of the times I feel like it is. But it should fit on a snack table.
It's just cards, right?
It's just cards.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems like it would. I don't know much about the game, but I'd argue that one more than Lost Cities. I worry about Lost Cities
because that's a long board.
It's a long board, and you know what? The cards are those bigger tarot-sized cards.
That is true.
So in general, they just take up more room than a standard like playing card type deck.
We'll just edit that out later.
All right. Well,
I got 2 more games. What do you got?
I got. Let's see. One. Oh, I have 2 more as well.
All right, go ahead.
All right. So this is a game that I've mentioned multiple times because there's so many versions of it, and I do like it. That's Love Letter. Even with 3 to 4 people, Love Letter does not take up a whole lot of room because you only have at most 2 cards in your hand at one time. Overall, the game is only 16, I think, cards in general, so it's a small game. And even with 2 players, where you, when you set up, you reveal 3 cards face up as public knowledge. Again, it's just 3 cards. It's not going to take up a whole lot of room, and there's no dice or anything like that. There is some interaction in terms of showing cards to each other sometimes, but especially with 2, you're on a couch, just flip it over. Here it is. Not much, extraneous effort going on there. So Love Letter, very small, portable couch game. What do you got?
I got 5-minute Marvel dungeon mystery.
Mystery,
I think some other ones. Yeah,
something else. Yeah.
I don't know which ones are out yet, but I have 5-minute Marvel, and it's cool. It's got some cool artwork. But you could totally play this on the middle of the couch cushion because you're just throwing cards down quickly. You don't care if they're like falling all over the place. So yeah, this one totally fits the bill. And this is another game that I could have put in for games you can't play just once, right? Because you beat the one villain.
Right.
Like, all right, well, let's just play the next villain who's a little bit more difficult than this one. And then you just play and you're putting out cards. Oh, I got 2 of these. Oh, I got 1 of these. Oh, we got to be. Let's just beat the next villain. And then, eventually you're fighting the main villain.
No, but it's literally 5 minutes each round, right? So you play through all those villains at equal time that you would play another one full game of something.
That's true.
And it's very reminiscent of a regular old-fashioned card game. Right? Was that game called Spit where you're throwing them down real fast, I think that might be Spit.
I don't know. Card. I know in 52 pickup, you throw them down pretty quickly.
All right, last one for me is also a card game and does have those bigger cards like Lost Cities, but there's no board, and that is Tides of Time or Tides of Madness. We happen to own both because they're so small. But this is a 2-player only drafting game, which is an odd thing to say, but it really does work. Each card has some symbols on it. There's like suits basically, and some way that card will score. It might say something like, 3 points per yellow symbol that you have at the end of the round. And a lot of these cards will work together. If you find that synchrony with your hand, you're going to score a lot of points. But again, remember that it's 2 players and you're drafting. So, you might get your hand of cards and be like, oh, these 3 cards will really work well together and score me a lot of points. But you might not get all 3 of those cards because you're going to be passing them back and forth and you're playing the cards face up. So you're going to see what your opponent has. Oh, they're going to get 7 points for completing that. Well, I might just kind of hate draft that and keep it, even though I don't need it because I don't want you to have it either. Really quick one. Also, I would argue would play multiple times. In fact, I think you play 3 rounds in this game. But even then, the game's like 10 minutes. So you could play this multiple times. Tides of Time, just regular old set of cards with some cool artwork. Tides of Madness, slightly different Cthulhu mythos in that one. And if you have certain cards besides the regular suits on them have madness tokens, and if you have a certain amount of madness, you automatically lose. So a little harder to pull together some points in that version.
This game I had seen quite frequently at Barnes & Noble, and we almost bought it so many times. And then I guess one day we decided, we're just not going to buy this game. And we stopped looking at it. But I would definitely want to check that out. It seems like a pretty nice filler game.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, you got one final pick?
I got one final pick. I'm very excited to talk about this game. I haven't talked about this game. Not a lot of people know about this game. And some of you out there might even say it's not a game. It's more of an activity. It's a game called Twisty Little Passages. And what this is it's a book that has these puzzles. And you're trying to get your hero from point A to point B. And you can come in here and you go over here and all right, you get this coin, and then you come down here and you get this key, and then there's like 3 doors. Which door do you want to use the key in? So you use it on this one, and then you circle this lock over here and you use the key, and then you cross your key off. Then you go into there and you get 2 keys, and great, that was great, such a good idea. And then you come back out and maybe you come over to this other door and you use 1 key and you get like a +1 attack. And then you come over to this other place and that's what you're doing. And you're trying to make the right decisions. You might waste a key and then you have to start all over. By the way, this is dry erase. So it's going to happen that you're not going to win. And you just erase the whole thing and you start over. And each map has, a different villain who has a different health or attack or defense. And it's a puzzle where you come in and you're using keys and potions and I don't know what else. And you're circling them as you go through. I've only done the first one.
So what's the argument against this not being a game?
Because it's a puzzle.
Oh yeah,
it's a solo book, right? It's not like I got to have somebody standing over my shoulder telling me what to do.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a game. That's why I put it on the list. It's more of a solo experience, though. So I guess it could be on the list, could not be on the list. I don't play a lot of solo games. So to me, it's a game. It's fun. I can play it. Okay, erase everything. Give it to somebody else. They can play it. Oh, cool, that was fun. And then erase everything. Be like, we want to do another one. It's not gonna hurt me, right? You want to do another one, you do it. Right. You just erase it when you're done. And it seems like the kind of a kind of fun thing to bring on a bus or something going to work, where you can just like punch out a game and play it in maybe 10, 15 minutes. And it just gets your mind working.
Cool. What's it called? Twisty Adventure?
Twisty Little Passages.
Twisty Little Passages.
Yeah. I kickstarted it, and as per the norm, I believe I saw this on a Rado run through. And then when I saw it actually come out on Kickstarter, or maybe he did a run through when it was out, I saw somebody do a run through. It's probably Rado. And I checked it out on Kickstarter, and I thought it was cool. And so I backed it. It was the first non-traditional board game. It was something a little bit different.
Right.
Also, I did want to quickly mention, because we neglected this, talk about app games. Now, you can sit around the couch. If you both have phones or tablets or something, there's a lot of games out there that I don't play and know nothing about, so I can't really talk about it. But the 2 of you could be playing the same game together on an iPad, right, or whatever tablet you have. So there's that.
Yeah, that's a whole new topic, but for sure, there's no lack of great app implementations of games. In fact, I have Tides of Time on my phone.
Nice.
That's a good one to take out when I'm by myself and a little bit bored. All right, so we gave you folks a whole bunch of games that you could play on the couch or sort of on the floor or on the side of the couch or whatnot. Check them out. Let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree with any of our picks and how many games we may have missed that you think you can pull off on the couch.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear some recommendations, because I play games on the couch, and if you got one that's right down my alley, and tell me, I'll play it. If it's going to fit, hit me up.
Nice. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this Board Game Dadcast. Thanks so much for watching and bearing with all our shenanigans. Make sure to like and subscribe to Board Game Dads on YouTube. And you can even check out BoardGameDads.com for all the previous Dadcasts and all the other holiday board game spotlight videos that Eric and I have done. Until then, have a great time gaming, and we'll see you folks on the next one. Adios.
Adios.